2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
I don't want a divorce, but I don't know if I can stay like it is.
Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers.
We're therapists.
And we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin.
Brannon, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good, actually. Yeah, we've had some good weather lately.
I know. This late season fall, it was almost like an extra month of summer, which I can't really complain about too much because I'm not much of a winter guy here in Utah. My depression gets worse in the winter.
It's been so good that I've been feeling like guilty that I'm not in the mountains. It's like, what am I doing just walking around the neighborhood? Like, like go out and enjoy it. Like yesterday was perfect.
Oh man.
It's awesome. I spent, it's crazy. I spent, so I redid all the tubes in all of our kids' bikes and stuff. You guess how much it cost me?
Oh man, I don't even want to know anymore.
It's just tubes in the bike from Walmart. It was like
I was gonna say about $150 probably.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but we're ready to roll now. Like it's they'll be flat by tomorrow, but
yeah,
we're ready to roll.
You guys will get one good family bike ride in, and then they'll start to go flat, and then it'll snow by the end of the week, and then it'll be over.
Yep, and then I'll replace them in like 3 years when I finally get around to fixing them.
Way to go. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, we got another review. We really appreciate the reviews. We try to share them when people submit them. So, if it's all right, I'm gonna this one just barely came through, Brannon. It just says, "Wow." This one came from Apple. And it says, "So thankful for this podcast. Wish I would have found it sooner. I recommend for anyone in a marriage with repeated betrayals and abuse and struggling to know when enough is enough. It has helped me so much."
Awesome. Thank you for leaving us a review. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, we love your reviews. And this review actually kind of fits perfectly with the topic of our episode today too. We've got another caller who's basically in that situation that was just mentioned in the reviews. So Nicole, we're glad to have you with us. Just introduce yourself, tell us whatever pertinent background would be helpful for us to help you, and ask your question.
Okay, thank you so much for having me on. So the background is this. I'll try to keep it brief-ish. We married in 2002. And 2 months into the marriage was my first discovery. And there's been a discovery pretty much every 2 to 3 years since then. And with all of those discoveries, I just kind of shoved everything under the rug. I took all the blame that he laid on me, and I tried to be what he said I needed to be in order for him to stop what he was doing. And then in 2021, there was a big discovery. I found out that he had been in a relationship with a former girlfriend for 4 years. And at that point, I knew, like, I didn't want to live like that anymore. I needed something to change. So he did his typical thing where he tried to lay all the blame on me. And if you did this and that, and things would be different. But I didn't buy it that time, thankfully. And I just started reaching out for help to figure out why this was happening. Realizing that it wasn't my fault and it was something within him. And then from that point on, from March 2021 to June of 2024, there have been multiple other discoveries, more cheating, more lying, all of these things. And over the course of all of this, we've done therapy individually, we've done therapy together, and he's lied in every single session. He's never been honest. And I don't even think he's been honest with himself. I don't think he knows his truth. There's something that he's afraid of, something going on in him that he's afraid of. He can't face it. I don't think that he's a terrible person. I love my husband. I still love him. And I see him as this broken person. And I want to help him. But I don't want to keep allowing him to break me in his process. So I guess what I need help with is figuring out how to detach myself from him so that I can create the life that I want for myself.
Nicole, I just a little bit more information to understand the situation you're in. How many kids do you have?
4.
You have 4 kids, and are they all still in the house?
3 of them are.
3 of them are still in the house.
Yes.
And how connected is he to the house and to them? And
Emotionally, not really. He's present. He's here physically. And, he's a great provider. I know he loves us, the kids, but he can't connect with us emotionally. There's a barrier there.
which would make sense.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't see it before.
Everything is compartmentalized off.
Mm-hmm.
So he functions as a provider and he lives in the same home, but emotionally everything is kind of gone numb. It's probably got some what we call alexithymia going on, which means that you can't even identify or process emotions. Everything is just kind of like flat. And then, of course, if he's got all of these other secrets, he has to keep different parts of his life in different boxes, which will then, of course, lead to more disconnection inside the relationship too.
Yes.
You're probably feeling a lot of that.
A lot. The more that I've learned about, what's going on, why it's happening, I feel it a lot more. I think before, when I thought it was all my fault, I didn't sense the disconnection that we have. I just thought it was me. And if I did this thing better and that thing better, then that would fix it.
So your eyes kind of started to become open in 2021. Sounds like that was in a long marriage. If I heard you right, it was you've been together since 2004. Is that right?
2002.
2002.
2002. Okay, so you guys have been together for more than 20 years.
Yes.
So 19, 20 years into the relationship, for most of that period of your relationship, you spent most of your time when there'd be a disclosure taking the blame and figuring out why you weren't being good enough and what was wrong, because that's what he was telling you was going on. And somehow things started to shift. And in 2021, when this big one happened, you started to realize that there was really nothing you could do that could fix his lack of honesty and his lack of ability to cope emotionally with whatever he's doing. And so you started to take it less personally in the last 3 years.
Yes, less personally, but it's still hard.
Sure, it still hurts. Of course it hurts.
Exactly. Yes. Right.
But it's not your fault.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Which is probably go ahead.
Well, the crazy making and the gaslighting was working for 20 years, basically.
It worked.
What I'm hearing.
Yes, it definitely worked.
Yeah. Just random question. Are you guys religious?
I don't describe myself as religious, but I do believe in God, and I have what I think is a really strong relationship with him.
What do you think God's view is on divorce?
That it's okay in certain situations.
That was hard.
He wants
That was hard for you to say, Nicole. I heard that in your voice. Was that hard to say?
It is hard. When I got married, I never thought that there would be a divorce. And my parents stayed together. And that's a value that I hold. But I think that value is hurting me now.
Well, it creates competing values. You value keeping your family together, probably as like one of your biggest values. But his addiction and his behaviors creates competing values because you value fidelity and trust and intimacy and connection and all the things that he has not been providing to you in many ways. The reason I asked the question, Nicole, is to really get an idea of the struggle that you're having in terms of moving on. It sounds like he's a good provider. Sounds like you believe in God, but that God does give you permission to leave if you need to. Sounds like you don't want your children to experience, a household that's broken.
Right.
So that kind of keeps you in place a little bit. But if I were just to kind of bluntly ask you, like, are you able to maintain your truths and live in your integrity and stay in this relationship? What do you think?
No, I'm not. I'm not, and I know that. Like I know that, but I haven't been able to make the decision to separate from him. And then if I say that to him, then, he's like, okay, let's do therapy. I don't want to lose the marriage, and we can fix it. We can make it work. But then when it comes time for action, he falls short.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if I don't know if he wants to change and he just doesn't know how. Because one time he said, I like my life. I like the way I live. I like the things I do. And then other times he'll say, I don't want to be this person anymore. I don't know which one to believe. I feel like I should believe that version that matches his actions, which is, I like who I am.
I think you're right. Like I actually think that you're probably, and this is probably what makes the decision so hard is that it's probably true on both of those answers. There's a part of him that really does want to change, doesn't know how, too wrapped up in shame, hasn't learned that the pathway to freedom includes accountability and humility and then effort and work towards those things. And then he also has a life that he doesn't really want to give up. You know, I like to do the things that I want to do and the people that I want to do, and I'm just going to keep my life the way that it is. And so what you have to go off of is your own personal intuition first and foremost, and then you have to go off of the data set that you're given. Now, somebody might not be able to take action because they're so wrapped up in shame that they need someone to kind of get them started and moving in the right direction. But once that starts to happen, if the roots need to take place inside the person that needs to do the changing, rather than you always being the one with this stick that's like ready to be like, okay, the minute he starts slowing down, you grab the stick and like, all right, I'm leaving. He's like, no, I'll keep working.
Right.
It's like, well, maybe that gets it started, but eventually he's going to have to take a look at himself in the mirror and go, I'm doing this no matter what, because my life is out of control. And maybe he doesn't see his life as out of control. Maybe the only thing that makes it out of control is that he's got a mad wife that if she would just let him do what he wanted, it would be fine.
I think he does feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I call bullshit on him wanting to change. Like, I don't hear that at all. I hear that he wants to manipulate the situation in order to get everything that he wants at the cost of you, Nicole. Where like, okay, like now she's mad, so now I'll do therapy, except I won't actually do therapy. I won't actually do a darn thing in therapy, but I'll keep her around. I'll blame her, I'll gaslight her, and I'll tell her it's her fault that I'm cheating on her. Like, he is using and abusing you, Nicole. And I don't use those words lightly, and I don't say them often.
You sound like me right now, Brannon. Do I need to calm you down?
Yeah, a little bit. Because, well, and the thing is, Nicole, I think you know what I'm saying is true.
I do.
And when are you going to step up for you, Nicole? When are you going to love you? Because you're lovable, and you're not allowing yourself to be loved. And at some point, it does come back to you, Nicole. You having the courage to face the fear of the change, to not live a life where you have to sacrifice all of your truths anymore, to set an example to your kids of a woman who's empowered and strong and will stand up for those truths, regardless of the consequences. I know that's not easy. I know there's a lot on the line. But it hurts. Go ahead, Tyler.
No, you're good, Brannon. I shouldn't have stepped in. Continue your rant.
It hurts my heart to see this, Nicole. It pains me to see a powerful, strong woman like you being beaten down into oblivion and settling for scraps. And I believe in the goodness of everyone. I know he's a good guy. I believe he's a good guy, and there's goodness in there, and there's goodness in his heart. He's a piece of shit husband who is taking advantage of you. And if he continues to do that, like, you are allowing him to at this point, because it's happened again and again and again. Right.
The risk is you can choose to stay. Your question originally was, how do I detach from him? You could actually detach from him and stay legally married to him, but your relationship would have to look far different than it currently does for you to protect your values. But the risk you run to do that is that you actually then end up losing parts of yourself that then keep you stuck. And that's what Brannon, I think, is trying to say. And I would maybe phrase this in a slightly different way. A question to you, Nicole.
Thank you, Tyler, for toning it down.
I bet I get along pretty well with your husband, even if he is being a bad husband right now. So he just needs he actually needs somebody to like, you know, he needs somebody to shake him loose other than you, like another man that he really respects that can point out to him all of the ways that he's currently blind and all the things that he's actually
please
doing.
invite him on.
We'd love to have him come on the show.
I started to have him sit in on this, but
Well, he can sign up. He can take his own actions and be proactive and sign up and come and
yes,
talk to us if he wants to. And we'd love to
yes.
talk to him.
And that's what I decided, is that I'm tired of being the one to seek out the help for us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I figured, if he really wants it, he'll do it.
Yeah.
He was out of town recently, and he called and he said, let's do therapy. And I just said, okay. And then I left it at that, because if he really wants to, if he was serious when he said that, he would have spent the next week that he was away finding someone, a qualified someone to, I have to add, like, the like run of the mill therapist isn't gonna help us.
No. And I actually think that that's a great step in the right direction for you, because that is one form of detachment and saying, okay, I'm no longer going to like cling to this relationship that continues to abuse me. I've told you what I need. You can choose to do what you want to do or not do, and that'll give me more data to then make my decisions. Now, to go along with that, I wonder, and this is something that's really, really common with partners that I work with that kind of are in a similar situation where the writing is kind of on the wall. He's not in recovery. He's not really interested in recovery. He also doesn't want to lose you because it's convenient and comfortable, and he probably would feel guilty and some shame if his marriage fell apart because he can't keep it in his pants.
Chances are he's still acting out.
Yeah, it's likely he's still acting out. But when you start asking people, why do you stay? A lot of times they'll start to identify those values that you started to identify. Like, I have a value that I want to keep marriage together. Or, you know what? I have to stay for the kids. I'm going to sacrifice myself on the altar so that my kids can have a marriage that stays together. And I don't know what your other reasons are. I'd like maybe for you to think about those reasons and maybe even speak some of them here. But you have to then go back with your reasons and ask if that's actually true, or if that's a way to avoid stepping into the fear of what you know needs to be done.
Oh, I'm scared out of my mind. Like, I know. I feel like I know what I need to do. There is a lot of fear there because, I've been a stay-at-home mom this whole time. So there's the fear of like supporting myself and my kids.
Of course.
Will I?
When you said it, and you said it with some level of conviction there, Nicole, what is it that if you took all of the other factors off, which you can't, but let's just take them off for a second, what is it that Nicole needs to do for herself?
I need to get out of this relationship because I feel like it's slowly killing who I am. And it doesn't give me the things that I want for my life. Like, I want a true connection with someone. I want intimacy and love, and I want to be in a relationship. If I'm going to be in one, I want it to be one where there's trust and respect. And I don't have that right now, and I haven't had it.
How did you come to know that, Nicole? How do you know it?
I don't know. I just feel it. I don't know.
Does it feel different when you talk about this than when you talk about all the fears of why you stay? What's the energy of that knowing versus the choosing to stay?
I don't know about the energy, but it feels lighter and it feels free. When I think about the life that I could have.
Nicole, I want to, when you act in truth and act in truth regardless of knowing the outcome, do you know what that's called?
No, what is it?
It's faith.
Uh,
And so, but fear is running the show right now. So
yes.
fear and control. So how can you unburden those parts of you that are in fear and protecting you? How can you say thank you? Thank you for holding me here. I appreciate you. But I'm gonna put you aside because I imagine, and you can tell me, I imagine there's another part in you that's a part that's courageous and faithful. And
Yeah.
how can you invite that part up and allow that part to come in and start to run the show a little more than the fear part? You're going to have to unburden that fear part and love it and appreciate it. Thank you. But then really get to know that faithful part of you that can step into the dark, not know the outcome, but feel the peace of acting in that truth. Do you see what I'm saying about unburdening that fearful part?
But how do I do that?
You can literally thank it. You can see it. You can name it. Hey, part of me that allows me to stay here. Thank you. You've protected me for a long time. And you can write this out. You can listen to music. You can speak it out loud. You've protected me for a long time, but I'm going to ask you to step aside because I'm ready to step into truth. I'm ready to step into faith here. And then you need to get to know that part of you that is courageous. Nicole, there's that part of you that got you on this podcast today. And that part of you, we need to see it a little bit more, invite it up a little more often, and allow it in. You know that part's inside of you, right, Nicole?
Yes.
Yeah. But that part has to go away in order to stay married. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see that. I don't want that. And
That's the part that you run the risk of losing. You could either get really, really good at detaching, which then means you most likely will probably be emotional roommates and happen to live in the same house or at least the same neighborhood and stay married. And then you'll just let him do whatever he wants to do. And then you'll have to find a life anyway. Or you'll have to protect those values in a slightly different way. I like where Brannon's going with this, Nicole. Like the idea of this is another way of doing that work is the part that's been keeping you stuck is also the part that's been protecting you. At least you perceive that to be the case. So what Brannon's saying is let's address what it's done to protect you first and acknowledge what it's done. And then you can ask it to step back because you have another part of you that you just said. And that's what I was getting at before is there's a peaceful, lighter, more confident part of you that was operating when you said, I know that this is my right course of action.
That's your true self.
That was the true self speaking. That true self felt different than the fear and the compulsion and the worry and the anxiety. And what you're doing is you're replacing fear with faith. And the way you do it is you actually acknowledge the fear, express gratitude for what it's trying to do, and then you don't kill it, you move it to the side so that you can then get to faith. And another way that you can start to do this is that you take a look at the things that are causing the most fear. You said some right now. I've been a stay-at-home mom forever. I hear inside of that, and I'm reading between the lines, so tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know if I can provide. I don't know if I have the skill set to have to go back into the workplace. I don't know that I want to because I want to be able to be there for my kids. There's a whole bunch of logistical stuff that is just scary because it's like going to a foreign country to me because I've been out of it for so long.
yes.
Okay. That's fear. So what do you do with that fear? You address it with faith and say, okay, well, what would be the first steps that I would need to do to step into and through that fear? Well, maybe while I'm still in the marriage, I'm better get busy on getting an added skill or a new degree or something else so I can grow my confidence and be proactively working towards freedom, because just sitting here and being paralyzed by the fear is not going to serve me. And what's weird about that is if you were to step in and start getting a new skill or going back to school, even before you get the new degree or the new skill, there's going to be that part of you, the faithful part that goes, oh, I can do this. Like, oh, there's like stepping stones through this darkness if I just take the next step. Like, that's going to grow your confidence. That's going to feed the truth. That's going to help the self stay in control. And you can do that with every single one of the fears that's there. Take the next step. What's the next right thing? What's the next step that's faithful? That's coming from the true self rather than the fearful self.
Okay, so since I work better with like task, what I'm hearing is that, you know, if I make a list of the fears that are keeping me stuck in this, and then for each one of those, I write out a plan for how to address those fears, right?
I'm going to systematically take those on. Yes.
Okay.
But and Nicole, it will feel counterproductive. So like you write out a list. A lot of times those fear parts are telling you to run, hide, avoid, don't deal with it, and it feels like opposite of like things are going to get worse if I actually start stepping into these fears. Things are going to get more difficult if I actually start facing the reality of this situation. And so what we're saying is faith is actually staying in truth, staying in reality, and dealing with it. And as you do that, it might get messy. It can get chaotic. Consequences can come. But can you stay firm in loving yourself and stay in those truths? That's what's important. And you need some support around you. You need some tools in order to stay steady with this again and again. And maybe you already have that. But you need to fortify yourself in order to be able to stay in that place of truth, stay in that place of faith, or else that fear is going to come back and take you out.
I can't emphasize enough what Brannon just said there, Nicole, that the exercise that we were kind of talking about was take each fear and break it down into baby steps and then start taking the first step towards those fears. But because that will then light up the parts of you that are used to protecting you, you've got to have a team that will help you provide the scaffolding and structure towards the changes you're trying to make. So if you have 2 or 3 people or a group of women that you're working with or something where you can kind of lay out, here's my plan. And then you go and you start, let's just say you go get yourself into school and your whole team's like, yes, that's an awesome step. What's the next step? Get a semester done. And then halfway through the first semester, things get really hard and your husband's behaviors get even more erratic because he senses that the ground is shifting underneath your feet. And then you're doubting yourself and wondering if you really have what it takes. You have that scaffolding of the team to say, do it, stay the course, like you're doing the right thing, stick to the truth. And having that team really, really helps with the changes that you're trying to make in your life right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, I'll make up an example here. Let's say he schedules with a non-specialist therapist and he wants you to go to save your marriage, right? And you get the feeling like, you get the ick feeling of like, this is him going through the motions to manipulate me. There's going to be a part of you that's like, well, I should just go. I should just go and play along and, you know, keep going the way we have forever. And then what Tyler was saying, like you make a phone call to someone or you check in deep in with your intuition and know like, hey, I'm going to let him know that going to that appointment doesn't work for me. That can be really hard in that moment, right? I'm trying to give an example, like a more real-time today example. But like I feel like this is the truth for me. I'm going to stay steady to this truth. And I'm going to have people who want me to be healthy and want me to be happy, supporting me in keeping my truths, not supporting me in being a victim and blaming him for everything in my life, but supporting me to stay steady in my truths. What's your support system like, Nicole?
Non-existent.
Okay.
Because I'm always trying to protect.
It's
Right.
how isolating that is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Very. But I'm at a point where things have to change. So I'm just going to have to, like you said, thank that part of me, but let it go because I'm dying here.
No longer can you be alone in this.
You need a team. And that team can come through lots of places. It helps to have a team that understands what you're going through and has a language and principles that can be reinforced. But they can range anywhere from like volunteer 12-step type stuff, like an S&On group, all the way up to like a therapy group or a professional coaching group that's specific to the process you're trying to work. Could be mentors, teachers, church leaders, family members, best friends.
But I would say some specialization is important.
I think so too, for what you're going through.
Some expertise. Nicole, Tyler, and I have access to a bunch of stuff. Like if you need support systems, we have access to groups you can join. We can tell you 12 steps to join for free. Good specialized therapists that will totally be there for you. Like there's people out there and there's opportunity, but you won't tap into that unless you allow yourself to, unless you're ready, Nicole.
Right? Yeah. I'm going to. I did the whole essay, S-Anon, I think it was called, and that didn't really resonate with me because there was a lot of talk about it being my fault. Like I chose this type of person. Based on my trauma from childhood and stuff. And I just couldn't connect with that. But I know that there's other types of support groups and people out there that can help me where I am and that will resonate with me. I just have to find them.
Yeah.
You bring up a good point with that you sometimes finding the right help in and of itself takes some time and some energy and some effort. And I would say that, we kind of use a few principles to find the right help. One is this person, are they willing to learn to speak the language of what I'm going through? Number two, do they keep confidences? And then number three, do they balance both an empathy and understanding of what you're going through with also a continued push for growth and change? And then at the end of the day, respect your ability to make your own choices. And if all four of those things line up, that's a person that's worth taking a risk on to bring into your team.
Okay.
Which those people are out there, but you got to put some effort in to find people who
you're probably going to you're going to filter through several.
Yeah.
12-step meetings are prime like that because some 12-step meetings are phenomenal. The culture is right. It's a forward-moving thing. There's a difference between being in a meeting where they say, hey, let's take accountability for your own personal growth versus, hey, this is your fault.
Right.
And you want a group that actually says, we see your pain. We see where you're coming from. We've been there before, and there's ways through this, and we need to take ownership for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's different than, hey, let's get together and make sure that you know that it's your fault that you're in this relationship.
Yeah.
But it is our responsibility to change. So you might have to try 2, 3, 4 different meetings before you find one that feels like that energy is what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Same thing is true with a good therapist. You want that energy to be right. And it's the same 4 things that I just talked about. Are they gonna hold that space that way for you?
Okay. All right.
Nicole, we talk about, there's a couple stories we tell all the time. One is about sitting on a shoreline and watching to see whether the ice is freezing and safe to walk across. I feel like you've sat on the shoreline long enough, and you know that walking across that ice, you're going to fall in the water and drown. The other story we tell is, when he's dangling off a bridge and you're holding the rope, and he's saying, "Don't let go, don't let go, don't let go. If you let go, it's your fault." And you got to get to the other side of the bridge, but he's refusing to climb up that rope. And he's refusing to climb up that rope, and then he keeps jumping off again and again. If you drop that rope, is that your fault?
It's my decision.
It's your decision. That's a good
It's my
point.
decision, but I don't feel bad about making the decision, because I honestly, like, I feel like I've done my part. I've done everything that I could do. And now I want to do for me.
Yeah. And it's I think it's okay to know that you can let go. Go ahead, Tyler.
No, that's exactly right. And I love what you said. The way you said that that's exactly what I was saying earlier, is that's your decision to make. It's not like you're a bad person, or like, that's what's so funny about this. We happen to have this all the time in our relationships. Someone places themselves in the victim role and then wants to blame you for having good boundaries. If you hold on to the rope on the bridge, using the metaphor, you hold on to it until you're so fatigued that you either have to let go, but now you're doing it because you're exasperated and all done, or you hold on and then you just get dragged over the edge and you both go off the edge together. And so eventually what has to happen is you have to say, hey, I've held it as long as I can. You've had a chance to climb up. And because you refuse to climb up, I'm going to have to trust that there's one of those, like under most bridges now, they have those safety nets to catch people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to have to trust that God's got you on this.
Either there is or not.
Yeah. Like, I'm surrendering you over to the greater forces, because the minute that any time I'm in a relationship, I'm responsible to manage somebody else's agency and choice, is the minute I've overstepped my bounds. And I'm going to end up feeling resentful and burned out and tired and frustrated. And so I have to surrender over agency and choice. I have to give that over to other people. I have to give it back to, even Brannon and I have to do this in therapy all the time. How many times, Brannon, have you sat in a therapy session and wanted to just shake somebody because you know the right answer, and instead they're like, no, I got to go do this thing. And you're like, but you really don't have to do that.
It's like, I think it's the way God is with us. I think it's the way parents are, of like, why do you have to go learn? Why do you have to go learn? and Nicole, as long as you're like in this situation with him, he is not learning. He's not getting the full consequences of his actions, because you're taking on all the pain and the suffering for him.
I am.
All right. And so love him by allowing him to feel the consequences of his choices. And then God's got him. He can learn, he can grow from those consequences. So Nicole, what we're coming up on time. Like, how are you feeling and what's going through you?
I feel better than I did at the beginning of the call. I think the main thing that I'm thinking about right now is how to go about finding people to support me on this new journey. I don't have any like illusion that it's going to be easy or anything like that. And I think that I've been in this place for so long that when I start to move out of it, it's going to feel, I don't want to say wrong, but I can't think of another word, but feel maybe just different for me and very unfamiliar. And I don't want that to make me turn back and run toward what feels comfortable and familiar to me, if that makes sense. So I'm very concerned about, like, I'm thinking about the people that I know and like, who can I bring into this and confide in them, like what's been going on in my life, because they don't know. I've been very good at protecting him, but not so good at protecting myself. Yeah. So, and that's the shift that I want to make is for me.
It's just like that song from, I think it's Frozen 2, Into the Unknown. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you got to go and not turn around, like, ah,
Oh, call.
well, I actually like where you're going there, Nicole, because that is what you do have control and power over, right? Is like the next step, it sounds like, is you need to start building the team so that you can then break down the fears and then start taking one step at a time towards your fears. And this might be a process that takes a little time, but as long as you're moving in the process, you'll at least be creating more and more space and freedom for yourself. And that'll actually be part of the detachment that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So there's a couple places that, obviously you can reach out to either Brannon or myself. We both have practices with lots of people who can help give you the right kind of therapy / coaching, group work, that kind of stuff. So we'd be happy to connect you with either one of those. But then also locally, there might be some therapists in South Carolina that Brannon and I both know or are familiar with that could be good resources as well. And then, you're probably going to need to try a few trial and error kinds of places for the formal kinds of help, 12-step meetings. I don't know. You said you don't go to church, but sometimes churches have programs that do those kinds of things too. Friends, the right kinds of friends or family to just start bringing into your inner circle a little bit. Now that'll be risky and some of them may not go perfectly, but you can't do this on your own. Like,
No, I can't.
You gotta have support.
Yeah.
So
I got all the analogies today, and I'll finish with one here, Nicole. That my daughter, the true story, she got a really nasty sliver on the bottom of her foot. And, she was 10 at the time. So every time she stepped down, it hurt. And so my wife and I, her team, we came around and we could see the sliver. And every time we got close with those tweezers, she kicked and screamed and turned away and cried and said, I don't want to, don't touch it, don't do it. And so here we are. Like, her option is live with this sliver in your foot and get an infection and continue to let it kill you, or let your team and yourself face the reality that it's there. Walk through that pain, deal with that discomfort, and extract it so that you don't have to feel that pain continually and that suffering continually. That's where you're at, Nicole.
Yes.
Right? The sliver's there. We've talked about the sliver all day today. Tyler and I are saying, okay, let's get a team around you that can help extract this, deal with it, drink the bitter cup. And I promise you that if you act in truth, there is light and peace on the other end. And I don't know the journey that you have to take in order to get that fully, because none of us know that. But I promise you act in truth and you'll get exactly what you're supposed to, Nicole. So I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. We're pretty much up against it. Any last thoughts?
No, I appreciate you taking the time, and I agree with what you're saying. I know what I need to do. And now it's time to do it.
Nicole, follow up with us. I'd really like to know, in 4 months, 6 months, what's going on with you and where you're at.
All right, I will.
Yeah, we would love to hear from you again, Nicole.
I will do that.
Thanks a lot for being here. Thanks to our listeners for being here. We appreciate everything that you do to interact with us. And hopefully Nicole throwing herself out there was beneficial to several of the other listeners who are listening now. So till next time, keep on keeping on.